my name is Camille Smith. I'm a recent graduate from Villanova University, and I just got my Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering, and I made a YouTube. Yep. As background, for those of you that don't know, I actually started an IGTV series on my Instagram channel called Being Black, in which I explored how being Black has affected a lot of my experiences and a lot of the spaces that I found myself in. And I really started it because, quite frankly, as a coping mechanism for everything that was going on. We were in the middle of a pandemic, we still are, and a lot of the televised social unrest that I was seeing and consuming because I was at home. And I'm really happy with the impact that it's had. I've had really good conversations with people, Black people that my content resonated with, and also non-Black people that got to understand a vulnerable intersection that they probably wouldn't have understood without watching the video. But I'm bringing Being Black to YouTube as a revamped version, and I'm actually going to be welcoming guests. And I hope that welcoming guests onto the show will allow me to highlight more perspectives. Again, I think storytelling is so incredibly important to elicit emotion and compassion, and really empathy. And empathy, I think, is the end goal for these videos that I'm going to be publishing on my YouTube channel. I'm so incredibly excited. I have so many guests already lined up, a variety of different topics, but to give you guys a little bit insight into what each video will actually entail, keep watching. So the format of each video is going to be comprised of 5 questions. Those 5 questions are going to be the foundation of each video. Each guest will be asked those questions in the beginning. And I think what's cool about those 5 questions is it elicits very different responses. And I think it'll be very telling based off of that person's surroundings, their family dynamics, where they grew up, their environment, and really just how they look at life being a Black person. After we cover those 5 things, then we're going to move on to a topic that either they wanted to come on and talk about, or I'm going to have people vote on my Instagram channel topics that they want me and a guest to talk about. And I wanted to do in this video actually answer those 5 questions, so in the coming videos I won't have to take up more time to answer myself and the guest answer. And of course my answers will most likely be relatively repetitive because I have my answers. So in this video I'm going to cover those 5 questions, reveal them to you, and also give you my answers as well. So the first question is, what does being Black mean to you? And that's a loaded question because I, quite frankly, just recently in the past few years felt very comfortable in my Blackness. My perception of being Black was really just looking at my parents and looking at how resilient they are and how they can bounce back from any endeavor or any inconvenience that they experience. So I would say that being Black on a very foundational level is being resilient. As a community, historically and right now, we have to deal with so many external systemic issues, and we're constantly making light of it, through music, through arts, through storytelling, and I'm just very blessed to be a part of the Black community, and resilience is really what I feel being Black is all about. When was the first time you realized you were Black? This is a loaded question. I actually got this question from a sophomore diversity and inclusion class that I took during my undergrad, and it was really interesting to me because when the question was asked, I thought it was very odd, but I knew exactly when that was in my life. And I do think that asking that question, a lot of Black people have their first memory of someone else giving context, whether that be positive or negative, to what being Black means. So mine personally was a little bit traumatic. In the 4th grade, I distinctly remember coming back in from recess, and I was putting my coat in the cubby area, and this white little boy called me the N-word, and he hard-R'd me. Now granted, I was in 4th grade, so I had never actually heard the word before, but due to context clues, a lot of the other kids started laughing, and I looked to my teacher and she was really, really tense. So I knew that whatever he said had to be hurtful. And I remember crying. I just started crying. He was taken out of the classroom and he was yelled at. And then my parents had to take me home and try and explain to me what that meant. And I just remember them saying that that was a word that people used for Black people in the old days, and it was a negative word. So after that, I was like, okay, I knew that I looked different from other people, but why does that have to be negative? How was it growing up around you, and did that change going to college or growing up? So I grew up in the suburbs of Philadelphia in a predominantly white area, so growing up was difficult. Difficult from the standpoint that I was bullied relentlessly. You name it, they did it. Monkey sounds, clicking, endless amount of Rosa Parks jokes, which like you wouldn't even think that there'd be that many, but alas. And it was really, really difficult to grow up in a place that you literally were the only one that looked like you, that would even remotely understand what being Black, or even understand that experience, some of the frustrations growing up, learning how to do my hair. I did not know how to do my hair until maybe senior year of high school. But there were a lot of years that although I'm a very outgoing person and I feel like I shielded my emotions, like those coming of age emotions, very well from other people, I was a wreck in middle school. Going to college was a very interesting experience for me. It was very exciting because there was more than just me. There were more Black kids. I did go to PWI, I went to Philadelphia University. So I think in retrospect, looking back, it's very funny that I was so excited that there were going to be all of these other Black kids that I could interact with and be friends with and all these things. But a lot of those Black kids were not used to being around that many white people. So growing up, it was cool. Like freshman, sophomore year, I was super excited. I was meeting all these people, learning about them, learning where they were from, their ethnic backgrounds, learning about their parents, their family dynamics, all these things, and it was super exciting. But by the end of my 4 years, I realized that the Black community at my school was just very fragmented, and that was a huge point of frustration for me. So although I wasn't alone at college, there were new challenges that were presented when I got there. Advice from my younger self: stop listening to what they're saying to you. I won't call it a regret, but looking back on middle school and looking back on what I believed, my dad always talks about like the most important thing that you can do in your life is figure out who you want to listen to. And I listened to all of these random kids tell me that my skin was too dark, my hair was too fluffy, I wasn't pretty, I wasn't beautiful, and I had to straighten my hair to be considered pretty. And I believed them. And before, when I mentioned that I recently just got comfortable with my Blackness, that's why. Quite frankly, I did not want to be Black when I was younger, and I felt that way for a really long time. So younger Camille, stop. Also, talk to your parents. Just talk to them. And last but certainly not least, was there something that wasn't covered in these questions that you want to share with the viewers? Yes, I am so incredibly excited about this YouTube channel. I've been sitting on this idea for a long time, even before my IGTV series, and I'm really hopeful that this gives Black people a space to listen to other people's stories and but positively or negatively resonate with things. Because when we reflect on things, I feel like that genuinely pushes us to heal from things of our past. And it also gives non-Black people an ability to actually see a genuine, authentic interaction between two Black people that are talking about something that they probably won't experience. So I'm really excited. The first video is actually going to drop with a guest on January 1st, 2021. And I appreciate you watching this, and I'm excited to start this journey. Bye.